Affairs program on the radio stations of NRG Media in Omaha. Now that the campaigns are starting to ramp up for the May primary election, we're spending a lot of time talking to the various candidates for the various political offices, giving you an opportunity to get to know them for what they stand for, what they hope to accomplish, and why they're running. We have one of those candidates with us today. She is running for governor of the state of Nebraska in the May 15th primary. We welcome Vanessa Ward, candidate for governor. Vanessa, nice to have you here.
And Neil, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about being here today.
You also brought along your daughter.
Yes.
Hey, hey, hey. Hi, Nebraska. How are you?
There you go. Vivi.
Yes, it is.
Do you have an official role in the campaign?
Just a supportive role.
Mom.
Yeah, definitely.
Vanessa, the first question is the obvious one. You've been around a while. You're familiar with Nebraska. You're familiar with Omaha. We'll get into your biography a little bit. But why are you running for the governor's office in the state of Nebraska?
I always love that question, Neil. And I want to start by saying that I feel that there's such a intense dissatisfaction with government at this time of my life. I've seen a lot of tension with the civil rights, women's suffrage. I could probably go through a whole bunch of historical moments where tension was high, but I've never seen it as high as it is now. I come from a background where I understand when dissatisfaction with anything, when it's at a peak like this, somebody has to do something. And I really feel like that's me in this time. I just hear it screaming for me. Actually, I feel called to do something.
You're a child of North Omaha?
Yes, born and raised.
Born and raised in North Omaha. You spent your entire life there. And what was there that motivated you to do what you're doing? And you talk a lot about how tough it was, how challenging it was to try to live a normal life growing up in North Omaha. Can you kind of reflect on that?
It's always been this dissatisfaction within me to have to live in conditions that are really beneath your standards, so to speak, only because this is all you could afford. You kind of grow in that and say, well, you know, just because this is all I have, does it mean that this is all I'm entitled to? It kind of goes against your ability to dream, imagine, and see yourself in a bigger scope, even in Nebraska itself. So for me, I think that was always there. So when I was in my neighborhood as an adult, there was crime, isolation, filth thrown in the street, gang-ridden. One man got murdered right in front of my home. And I think that dissatisfaction reached a point where I could no longer just say, ignore, or pacify it, or like somebody else should do something. It called me into action.
Did you ever feel like the best opportunity was to get out?
Yes, but I think the first thing we feel is anger. And then we start blaming the government. We start blaming the police. We start blaming the school system. We start looking for every other thing to blame for our own dilemma. And I think in part B of answering why, I feel like I'm at a time in my life where I need to inspire people to see that the answer always starts with you. Your willingness to work together, your willingness to put in the time, your willingness to say, okay, I'm going to be actively involved in what happens in the discourse of my life and others.
North Omaha wasn't always that way, was it?
For me, I can only speak for my part, and I'm 65 this month. Yay. Happy birthday to me, huh, Vivi?
Yeah, happy birthday, Mom.
So, yeah, I was around for the civil rights and how we were boxed into what was called the near north side. The near north side for me was probably my best memories of neighborhood. No matter how economically you were set or how educational, just because you were an African American, you lived within that boxed area. And I think it forced, please hear the word, it literally forced us to be community. And it was a good time. It was a good time.
What's changed? Why is it so bad now that it wasn't then?
What I feel like is when, let's look at the word force for a minute. Because we were all boxed in, and I'm just going to give the boundaries. We couldn't go any further south than Cummings, any further east than 16th, and any further west than 30th. And then our north boundary was Ames. So that that's our neighborhood. In that, I see what worked. The community caring about each other and recognizing that you really couldn't separate because of how much money you made or how much education. We were all community. And I think when we start looking at ourselves as, look at me for what I am, and this is where I live, and this is what please hear the repetitive theme, I, you start to lose the sense of union, which kind of brings me to the preamble. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, do you hear it? That's where I feel like my campaign starts, right there. I see the preamble is a wonderful preface, but without the work, the intentionality, and what it's going to take for us to come out of the I, and see community, city, state, and country, it's challenging. But I think with good leadership, we can get her done.
North Omaha, of course, is only a small portion of the city of Omaha and an even smaller portion of the state of Nebraska.
Yes.
Governor's responsible for a whole lot more.
Yes.
Especially an agricultural economy, a state budget that's $300 million in the hole. There's a lot of challenges for the next governor of the state of Nebraska. How do you think that you can deal with all that?
I think it's going to be awesome. I really do. And the reason that I see that is because of the divide. Remember the word isolation? Remember the separation and how it works against us? I think we need a leader that will be able to identify, or people can identify with, that wants to see the betterment of the east to the west, Scotts Bluff. Not to mention our north and our east and west perimeters. We want to see these things come together, but you got to have a leader that you trust, first of all. And then you have to have one that's frugal when it comes to that budget, because you want to make sure that that money's appropriated in a way, and accountability is huge for me. I believe we should have more public oversight as to what's going on with our government from all the boundaries I named. I think people want to feel like they actually have an involvement, instead of somebody saying, well, this is done, and then everybody turns around and says, well, when did that happen? Or who had a say in that? I would love to see more of the public oversight.
Isn't that the role of the state senators in the legislature, to represent the people at the state government level?
May I say what I learned, Neil, that I did not know until I took a bus ride last Tuesday to the unicameral. It was the the black and brown legislature day. This is just their second year. You take high school students and you take them from their classroom setting and go to Lincoln. Here you have the paperwork laid out on how the upper entourage of the government is made. You have your committees. You have all the ways of how law. I love it. Every senator that we had the opportunity to have lunch with and visit with said the same thing, and none of them probably even knew they did. And guess what it was? It's not just up to me, the senator. I need you not to just send me things, but send it to the council, send it to the committee. Get involved with this process, because the people really do matter. We are the power. And that needs to be taught. I would like to see that happen in our educational portion of looking at what can we do more to make our educational system more effective. I think we need to get people involved in the process that it takes to bring about the unification of what it takes for Nebraska. That's what I hope.
Vanessa Ward is the candidate for governor, a Democrat, and running in the May primary for the office of governor of the state of Nebraska. You're up against a pretty powerful power structure that's been very successful in the state. How is your financial picture looking, and what kind of support do you think you can expect from the state Democratic Party?
Well, let's start first of all with how powerful financially Governor Rickett is. I think that I'd be amiss to try to even compare myself to that dynamic. May I start there?
Sure.
Secondly, I believe that the strategy, first of all, I'm not a politician. I am a leader of leaders, and I do know how to get things effectively done. Let that be known. But at the same time, I feel like my strategy is going to be the people. Back to that premise. We the people. When the people get behind leadership that they can believe in, we're going to see a fantastic move. And it's not going to be measured by dollars. It's not going to be measured by race. It's not going to even be measured by gender. It's going to be a move of the people. And I am really excited because I think the country is hungry for that. I think they really want to see that we do have a voice that matters. And I'm the candidate that's going to initiate that. Third part, the Democratic Party. I have had trouble with the Democratic Party from the time that I started. I cannot believe that I would be an enemy right within the party. I never would have believed that. I haven't even got attacked by the Republicans yet, and I know it's coming. But the Democratic Party has not been friendly and supportive to me, and it's not all Democrats, please hear me. But it's just the leadership. They haven't been warm and accepting, and I'm going to challenge them in that also, because we're going to have to be more open to what it's going to take to unify Nebraska so that we can move forward in victory and power.
You've got a real uphill climb, you know that.
I really do.
You're a woman in a predominantly male race.
Yes.
You're an African American in a traditionally white race.
Yes.
You're underfunded in a very well-funded opponent's race.
Yes. Okay, Neil, what you want to say positive?
I'm trying to come up with, okay, if I were in your position, what can I hang my hat on?
Ooh, I don't know.
I mean, you can't do anything you want to do until you get elected.
Okay, well, I want to just give a shout out for National Women's Day first. May I start there to say
Sure.
the day is the, we're just going to tip our hats right there. Yes, little sisters, keep it up. And then I want to move to this. The people are ready. The people have a mind to work. All they need is just some direction on how we're going to get it done. I am so excited. You'd be surprised. My little grandchildren come in from school. Hey, everybody said they saw you on TV, Grandma. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Who is this? Who is this? And just to see that inspiration that they're involved in politics at 8, 7, 6, and 5. What? How can you lose? Neil, how can I lose?
I understand. What about state senators? Have you had any opportunity to see if you're going to get any support from the state senators around the state?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I'm looking, Ernie, I got to tell a quick joke. I don't think Ernie would mind. I get down there for the camera and I see Ernie and I kind of whisper in his ear. I said, you know I'm running. And he said, yes, I know you're running. He said, you know you don't have a chance. And everybody that was watching, now, why would you expect for Ernie Chamber to do anything different than who he is? He's always candid. He's always frank. And I appreciate and respected that. But I think what I'm trying to encourage with people that are listening and people that are following me, you have to know your worth. You have to know what you're doing and stay focused on that. But nonetheless, as I was leaving and I looked Ernie in the eye and he looked at me, he said, don't you quit. Now, could that be an oxymoron, or is that the way it works in everything you do? Step out, do something, believe in yourself, and then let the voters decide for themselves.
You've got a pretty strong message about self-confidence there, and you don't lack self-confidence.
No, I don't.
But you want to do this for the state of Nebraska.
I do.
And you keep saying that, well, you've said that it's not about the money. But in the end of the day, it is about the money.
Yeah, and I think that might be what's destroying our country now. Let's look at the gun violence. Let's look at the NRA issue. Let's look at any of the things that are facing. If you really look at the center of the turmoil, what is it? Money. Mm-hmm. If we don't stop destroying ourselves over the thing that all of us could work to use to better, if we don't stop, I think it's awful unfair that our children and future generations have to find their destiny in the ashes of our destruction. I really do. I think it's unfair, I think it's selfish, and I think I'm the one that's going to challenge the voters of Nebraska. Why is Nebraska so important? Not just because I'm born and raised here, and I love my entire state. Not just because of those two reasons, but because we are the heart of this country. So goes the heart, so goes the country. And I'm the leader that can help get this heartbeat pulsating in a way that will not self-destruct.
Vanessa Ward, candidate for governor, visiting with us today and talking about her hopes and dreams for her campaign and for the state of Nebraska. Here in Omaha, we have what I consider to be an almost unbelievable statistic, and that is in the Omaha Public School District, nearly 70% of all children qualify for free or reduced price meals. In Omaha, Nebraska, in 2018, how is that possible?
I'm going to defer to you, Vivi. You have so many concerns about your children in public school. Would you like to take that one on with Neil and just answer it to the best of your ability, babe?
Well, I feel like with all of those children being available for reduced lunch, that must show that more of us must be on welfare, or more of us must be under that pay cut that allows us to put those children on reduced or full pay lunch. However, with that being said, lunch at school is not good.
Go ahead, you said that.
Not at the OPS schools that I have visited.
Not delicious.
It's not delicious.
There it is.
And some of lot of the complaints that I get from children is sometimes it's not enough. They go hungry all throughout the day. OPS schools, I don't feel like we are at the best that we can be.
I totally agree. And may I take it from there, babe?
Go ahead.
I was just saying, too, that that's one of my visions, Neil. I say we are the bread basket of the entire country. Why haven't we came up with some kind of courses within our school curriculum that at least deals with agriculture? That I don't get that. That should be something that's, we don't know who wants to be a farmer. We don't know. We're just now working with City Sprouts here to have an intern program where young people can go into learning how to take a vacant lot in North Omaha. We have millions of them. And learn how to grow, tomatoes. Mm-hmm. I think we should be doing something with our smaller farmers. I'm not against industrial farming unless you're pushing out the smaller farm. Now, I got a problem with that. See what I'm saying? I also have a problem with the fact that we're not doing everything we can to protect our natural resources for the future generations. So, I'm going back to North Omaha, Okay, so 70% of our young people are not only on free lunch. That's not all they're doing. They're also we have the largest number of children that are poor overall in Nebraska, in Omaha. And a lot of people use that analogy. Well, you got the richest man, Buffett, living here, and then you got the poorest. Now, let's not say that Susie Buffett, please, and other people have not come to do what they feel is best. But what they're losing is the public oversight. You cannot come into our neighborhoods and tell us what's best without at least forming a committee of maybe not just the organizations, because a lot of times that's not the answer. You need some mothers. You need some everyday folk and intentionally get these people and find out what do they see as best. Does that make sense? I'm not going to go out to Kearney, Scotts Bluff, or any of the other areas in District 3 without going and telling them what I think is best for them. I would never do that. I need to come out per your invitation and hear what are your plights. What are your struggles? And then assess it according to what the people, we the people, I'm back there again. We the people. I don't see any other way to do it.
Getting back to the issue of children in poverty, particularly in the near north side.
Yes.
Is there, and I know this is going to sound wrong, is there not a responsibility on the part of the parents to make sure that first and foremost these children are taken care of in a responsible way? We see a lot of children just not being taken care of.
Want to take care of that, Vivi? Go ahead, you young mother.
Totally. It is totally up to the parents. It's totally up to the parentals to make sure that their children is taken care of mentally, physically, financially, emotionally.
But are the parents doing that?
I cannot speak for all parents, but I do see the lack. I do see that we can all do better in a lot of areas, speaking for myself, because change starts within you. So speaking for myself, I know that as a mom, there's a whole lot of areas I could do more in. And especially just speaking in the community that I know of, mental disabilities is looked over. We don't think about counseling. We don't think about anything, especially in the communities that I'm familiar with. However, I do believe that it is up to the parents, the mom and the dad. Okay.
If you send your kid to school every day hungry, wearing rough-looking clothes, what's the attitude that he's going to have going to school?
he's going to be hungry and rough looking all day.
Also, may I add to that?
Yes.
He's going to get peer pressure,
Mm-hmm.
bullied,
Yes.
made to feel inefficient. You know, when I heard the stats, that the number one thing that people look at when they're thinking about voting for you or anything of support, you want to tell me what it is?
What is it?
Image. How you look. That's another thing that I hope to tear down. I want people to look at me and see my character. I want to set an example to inspire people that is not, quit being so vain. It's not all about that. It is about being a good neighbor. It is about making sacrifices for one another. I challenge a lot of things. I like the way those 4 things you named off the top. You say, you're not this, you're not that. I say, I know, but I do know what I am. And I'm excited to be able to represent. You'd be surprised, Neil, how many people come up to me every day. I'll be at Walmart, anywhere, and say, I am so proud of you. And do you know what I do? I stop and say, tell me why. You're raising the bar. You're stepping out with courage. I'm like, you're right, I am. And it's not because of anything I hope to ascertain. It's what I hope to demonstrate.
Vanessa Ward, candidate for governor on the Democratic side, hoping to get past the Democratic primary on the 15th of May and continue her run for governor of the state of Nebraska. The state government that you hope to lead is a monster. It's huge. And one of the biggest parts of that is the Department of Health and Human Services, which has been, some would say, a failure for years, administratively, fiscally, and results-oriented. What is your feeling about HHS, and do you know how you could fix it?
I definitely have to refer back to the public oversight. We're going to have to quit coming into these families and into this community assuming that you know what works best. You can't. We're missing the mark. We're missing it totally. The foster care is failing our community terribly. A lot of times you come in and you say, okay, because of this and because of that, let's just use a family that's separated me for just a minute. Mm-hmm. Okay, the father is absent for whatever reason, not blaming. You have not given anything toward child support, have not done anything. In the event that the mother should do anything wrong, shoplifting, anything, okay, I'm not saying, she instantly loses her children. When she loses her children, it automatically falls to the biological father that has been absent when the grandmother has been there like a pillar. You need to come into the family and understand the dynamics. One of the things that happened, I just want to kind of give an analogy to line up with that. When people come into North Omaha, and because you have the resources, remember I said, I don't have the money, so I got to live like this, all right? When you come into North Omaha with your resources, with your vision, with your dream, not against that, but you need to consider the dynamics of the area for which you are entering. What happens for me that I've seen over and over, people will say, hey, Vanessa, tell me how you feel about this. Are you offended? No, I'm not offended, but you should have did your research. Because while you come in just patronizing the males in the community, I understand that's a peace offering, but you do not consider that the women are holding down a majority of your statistic single-family units.
Let me ask you, you talk about patronizing the males in the community.
Yes.
Expand on that.
Meaning, I'll get the leaders of the church. That's the first one they feel like. It's the ones that really hold the community down, which is not true. Also, it's true stereotypically, but it's not true when it comes down to the actual power in the community. The power in the community basically are those people who are trying to start their businesses, those people that are trying to be independent of any government assistance, those people that are looking out for the children. These are our pillars, but you missed us. And when you don't do your research or look for public oversight, that's why your programs are failing. But somebody needs to ask me, because I can tell you what things we might need to do or implement or put in place that can make our programs more effective. Not saying your resources aren't needed or welcome, but if you're doing it the way you think, you're missing a whole bunch of folks.
There's a lot of construction, a lot of business development, cranes everywhere in this city, except in North Omaha. Why won't business develop in North Omaha?
I'm thinking that that might not be the worst thing for us right now in North Omaha, because with that comes a lot of control and a lot of demands that may not be welcome. May I say that at this time?
Define that. Expand on that.
Welcome means don't come in taking over. Don't come in with your restrictions on how and moving out families and tearing down homes and once again, no public oversight. You're just coming in doing what you feel is best. And that, to me, I think we're tired. Can I expand on it?
Sure.
That's not just Omaha. That's the state of Nebraska. That's our United States. People are tired of you coming in saying what you are going to do for the betterment. And all the time, we can't even get past the verbiage to find out, did that tax cut really help or hurt? We're still trying to work through some of that. I'm going to rest on that.
Okay. You are going to run into a buzzsaw should you get past the primary and
Yes.
be the Democratic candidate, which is, a pretty good challenge in itself. But what is your opportunity to go up against Pete Ricketts and differentiate yourself from him as governor?
Oh, Wicked has done. Did I say Wicked? I didn't mean to say that. Well, Wicked has done so many things that have just been so challenging. People, whether you're the far left or the far right of either parties, there is a strong majority of we the people that are right there in the middle. And they're ready for I don't want to use change because I think Obama worked that one over pretty good. They're ready for a difference. They're ready to be that difference. And if we use ice cream flavors, they're ready for a different flavor.
I hope that should the primary be successful for you, we'll have you back here again after the primary as we look forward to the November general election. And we'll see if we can get back with you again and see how things are at that point. Vanessa Ward is a candidate for the Democratic nomination for governor, and Vivi, her daughter, here also explaining a few things. Thank you both for your time and best of luck in the campaign.
Hey,
Thanks, Neil.
thank you,
Thanks for having
Neil.
us.
That's so great to be here.
Well, kids, that's
that
our
was
little program.
28. That was 28 minutes.
That's 27 minutes and 18
I
seconds.
went long. No, that's messing with you, Neil.
We could do another hour. Right?
Oh, after the primaries, Neil, I'll be back.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks, sweetheart.
Have you talked at all to Chris?
No, I will soon. No, I will soon. I definitely. We're going to the Truman dinner Friday. I'll make it very intentional to go over and greet him.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but you don't know him.
Not
yet.
personally.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This will run Sunday.
Oh, Sunday.
This Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Now, give me an email address, and I will send you a copy of the program, and you can do anything you want with it. It'll be an MP3 file.
Okay.
No, you understand that. I don't know. Because you and I are about the same age. I'm a little older than you, but that's okay.
Oh, so Neil, you my elder.
I'm 70, so I'll.
Oh yeah, you my elder. I'll make sure I never forget that.
You'll get there.
Not really. Yes, I will. Those grandchildren are going to make sure.
Yes.
Somebody. And the name of the book, and don't worry about any chapters because there's not. Somebody needs something.
But I will send you a copy of the show. I'll give you all the information on where it's going to be on the air, where you can hear it. And once you get it, you can cut it up, you can post it, you can do anything you want with it.
Okay.
It's yours to use.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, now that's your
There you go. So you're getting busy.
Did you hear the radio voice?
Yeah.
She's the best.
You are getting real busy. It's really starting to happen now. Okay, let's go this way.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
What are you getting filmed for, Neil?
It's my beauty shot.
Coming out with a spread?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Neal, give me one of those hugs. Get out of here.
Yes, ma'am.
And thanks for everything.
Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate that.
Okay, got
Thank
it.
you.
Okay, how you doing? I didn't get a chance
I'm
to
good,
greet you
thank
on the
you.
way in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How are
Appreciate it. Good luck. Good luck.
Miss Cynthia, have I met you already? You know, you probably have because you look very familiar. Give me one of my cards. I'm running for governor, Miss Cynthia.
Okay.
Keep me in your heart.
I think I saw you on the news the other night.
Ah, there we go.
Okay.
All right, take care.
Thank you, ladies.
All right.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. I haven't had a chance to meet Miss. Woo, here we go. She almost had it. Elijah, there you are. I didn't see your car when I went in. Give me one.